Hello Dentapreneurs, I'm Gabi, and in this video I want to discuss about brand and branding in dentistry. I will present these subjects in two videos, so look for the second part when you finish this video. Before starting with the presentation, I want to clarify what a dentapreneur is. Of course, this term doesn't officially exist in the dictionary for the moment, and as you may already imagine, it comes from dental and entrepreneur, and it represents the dentist who takes into consideration both of the main aspects of a dental practice: correct and high-level treatments, and also improvement and growth of the dental practice as a business. In this presentation, we will see what a brand is and what branding means. We'll see brand examples. Why is branding so important? We'll learn about basic branding principles, about defining and building our brand, and how we can effectively implement the brand in our practice. So let's start, people. What is a brand? People often confuse logos, slogans, or other recognizable marks owned by companies with their brand. In fact, a brand represents an intangible marketing concept which includes all the elements that help people identify a company, product, or individual. As Jeff Bezos said in a TED conference in 2012, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. The brand is the meaning of a product, company, individual, and it expresses its values and principles. So let's see some examples of elements that build a brand: name, design, motto, logo, package, colors, or fonts. Now, what is branding? Of course, branding is the building process of a brand, or in a more sophisticated definition, branding is endowing products and services with the power of a brand. And now let's have some brand examples. I think the most common brand that we all know is Apple. The main values that Apple communicates through its brand are innovation, creativity, and power to the people through technology. Their motto is "Think Different," and their colors are black and gray. Regarding typography, the font they mainly use is San Francisco. Another star among brands is Nike, that transmits empowerment, passion, and also innovation through their brand. Their motto is "Just Do It." Their primary colors are white and red, and their major typeface is straight Gothic font. Why is branding important? Branding is important because it's usually the crucial factor for customer, or in our case for patients, in choosing a product or service between similar companies. To see how important it is, let's take a look at some facts. Before developing a project, Steve Jobs' company, Next, that is less known than Apple, invested $100,000 in the branding process. If there is someone who really did understand the importance of branding, that is Steve Jobs. Studies have shown that presenting a brand consistently across all platforms can increase revenue by up to 23%, and that over 70% of brand managers consider that building an audience is more important than converting sales. Let's move forward and understand some basic principles about branding. First, let's see why people buy a brand. People buy a brand for two main basic reasons. They find similarities between their values, principles, and qualities and the ones of the brand. So when they are buying it, they reinforce the trust in those values and qualities. The second reason people buy brands is because they want to develop those qualities, values, and principles that are associated with a brand. There are people who don't have money for rent, but instead they are buying luxurious cars because they want to feel rich in some way. Another principle is that a brand is associated with physical aspects, real, palpable characteristics of a brand, product, or service, and also with the emotions that the brand triggers. How a product or a service make you feel. For example, Apple makes you feel a better person, creative. It makes you aspire to a digital future, emotions that the brand triggers. But also Apple's latest technology products have a simple design and are easy to use, real characteristics. Emotions that Nike triggers are related to victory, success, and self-improvement, and their products are defined by high quality, stylish products and light soles, real characteristic. The third basic principles I want to share with you is that the elements that you choose to represent your brand have to be everywhere. In your online posts, in the waiting room, on the medical clothes, in the dental office, everywhere. The last basic principle about branding is about the number of main elements which are defining your brand. There has to be a few elements associated with a brand, otherwise people will be lost in a sea of nonsense details. When you are developing a brand, it has to represent the common values that you and your patients have. And when I'm saying patients, I'm referring to the main segment of your patients. We'll be back to this subject a bit later. Before I start talking about the next subject, I want to mention that if you already have a brand, you can consolidate it, adjust it, or take it from the ground level. Okay, we understood what a brand is, what branding is, and we exposed some brand examples. Also, we realized why it's important and went through some basic principles. Now, it's time to see how we can define our brand personality. How to identify the main values or principles that we want to transmit through our brand. First step in defining your brand is identifying the main patient segment. The segment can be associated with the age of the patients, their social status, their income, the area where they live, and other important demographic or socio-economic factors. I hope until now you have already started to better understand branding and what it is all about. In order to better figure out this process of defining and after that building a brand, I will give you 2 examples at each step. If you want, you can do this exercise during the video by pausing each step and write down the process of defining and building your own brand. I'm sure you'll understand it better and it will be more efficient. So let's take 2 segments. First includes patients who are between 30 and 65 years old. They live in the center of the city, they have high income and a very good social position. In the second example, let's say we have a pediatric dentistry clinic, so the main segment will include children and teenagers between 1 and 16 years old that live near the center of the city with families that have an average income and a medium social status. In the next step of defining a brand, we'll have to think about the values of the main segment of patients. In our first example, some values and principles of the main segments may be professionalism, comfort, independence, pragmatism, and desire for high-quality services. In the second case, we might have, and now I'm talking about both of the values and principles of kids and their parents, desire for no-pain treatment, safety, kindness, playful behavior, and positivity. I just gave 5 examples for each segment to understand the procedure, but it's recommended to find more than 10 values and principles of your main segment. If you are stuck here, in the link connected with this QR code, you can find 102 examples of values list. The link is also in the description of the video. The final step in defining your brand personality is choosing 3 most important values or principles of your segments that are also your values and principles. Let's take these 3 values from the first example: professionalism, comfort, and desire for high quality of technology, and these 3 from the second example: safety, playful behavior, and desire for no pain treatment. We have now reached a very important part of this video: building a brand. In this process, the most important rule is that the elements you select and use have to be associated with your values and principles. The first step is, of course, choosing the name of the brand. Important rules in choosing the name are: it has to be short and easy to memorize, it has to be unique, you have to avoid hard to spell names, and get feedback regarding the name from your friends, family, and trusted colleagues. Make sure also that the name sounds good also when it's spelled. Sometimes names look fine on paper but sound awful when they are pronounced. Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, wanted to name the company Blue Ribbon, but one of his partners proposed the name Nike, which is the name of the Greek goddess of victory, and it's one of the best brands nowadays, as you know. The name of Amazon was Cadabra Online Shopping, and Apple's name was Advanced Microcomputing in the beginning. And they all decided to choose a more meaningful and short name to help them build the brand. In our case studies, the proper name for the first example could be High Dent and Fairy Dent for the second example. I know that these aren't the best names, but with these examples I just want you to understand as simple as possible how we can build a brand. The second part of the process is selecting the motto of the brand. Here are some examples of multinational companies' mottos. In search of incredible, Asus. The ultimate driving machine, BMW. Have it your way, Burger King. The city never sleeps, Citibank. It's the real thing, Coca-Cola. Have a break, have a Kit Kat. Of course, Kit Kat. Now let's see also some examples of mottos in the dentistry field. Beauty is power. A smile is its sword. Because everyone deserves to smile. Because teeth have feelings too. A perfect smile guaranteed. A reason to smile. If you need inspiration, here are 149 examples of dental slogans. Just scan the QR code. You can find the link associated with the code in the description of the video too. In choosing a motto, besides the fact that it has to be connected with the values and selected principles of the brand, following aspects are also important. To create a verse that is unforgettable, to keep it short and simple, preferably maximum 5 words. Actually, 72% of the best brand names are made up of words or acronyms. To make it easy to understand. Every tagline should be easy to understand. In fact, one major mistake made by brands is trying to get too clever with their taglines and including industry-specific terms or acronyms that an average person and the section of their target market won't understand. Stay away from complicated or dentistry-specific terms. An 8-year-old should be able to understand your tagline. Also, one of the more nuanced characteristics of powerful taglines is showcasing a key benefit that the brand offers. This can also be used to differentiate the brand from competitors, as explained below. Getting back to our examples, a proper motto for High Dent would be Heaven Dentistry, and for Fairy Dent, Home of Tooth Fairy. If all this work seems overwhelming or you just need a second professional advice, I encourage you to schedule a free coaching session just here. And yes, the link is in the description too. Regarding this need for help part, I know there are many people that are ashamed or feel uncomfortable in asking it, so I want to share with you this Barack Obama's quote. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It shows you have the courage to admit when you don't know something and to learn something new. Dear Dentapreneurs, here's the end of the first part of our lesson. See you in the second video. Goodbye.